Bacchilega, and I teach at the University of Hawai, i-Mānoa. I am both a folklorist and a cultural studies scholar, and I work primarily with fairy tale studies and adaptations, contemporary adaptations of fairy tales. Mm-hmm. My work has been trying to bridge understandings of the fantastic from different cultures, especially Western and Indigenous in the Pacific. Mm. I got involved in this project with my colleague and friend Marie Alohalani Brown in 2017, and so we produced this book, the Penguin Book of Mermaids, which came out last fall. Our focus in collecting stories for the book was really not to focus only on mermaids, but to connect the interest that, is very widespread and in mermaids, to connect it with water spirits, merfolk, to rethink some questions, for instance, of gender in that. Right? When we only focalize on mermaids, there's something going on there with gender as well. Yeah. The project was of interest, right, for publication and so on, because there's been such a long-standing fascination with mermaids. And so what happened is that we really got into understanding that more and how it plays out differently in different places, in different times in history. And so putting together all of the stories, and we have about 66 stories from all over the world, really, was a real learning experience, because a lot of the ideas that we had about mermaids were undone. Yeah. And some emerged really strongly, is how important imagining the body of the mermaid is, right? And it's this hybrid body, this human and non-human body, this body that has freedom in the water, right? And but that also allows the mermaid to surface and kind of speak and communicate with humans. So we have a kind of image of that body. This cartoon kind of captured at least one, right, of the stereotypes that we have about the mermaid. Her whiteness, right? And of course, her attractiveness. What we found is that these hybrid bodies are really very different from that one stereotypical image, and that many times the being, the hybrid being, is a reptilian and human being, right? So we have serpents, and sometimes that serpent is represented as kind of two serpents coiled with one another in the lower part of the body. A lot of times, especially in like older sightings from ships, even Columbus diaries, the mermaid is not beautiful. And of course, the mer being is not always female. I go back to the question of whiteness, and there are so many water spirits and water gods and goddesses, especially in Africa. And those beliefs and those images of the water being also moved them to the Caribbean and to South America because of the routes of slavery and colonialism and so on. So when we look at the larger picture of what these mer beings look like and their bodies look like, the Ariel picture is just one small example and not the main picture that emerges. What does come out, though, is clearly from looking at all these different images, is that the mermaid has this power of shape-shifting. She can become human. So in the Andersen tale, it's because of magic, right, that she can become human. But if we look at older stories, for instance, from the Scottish coast and the islands north there, maybe a man sees a woman sunning herself on some rocks and realizes, oh, there's something interesting about her, and takes, sometimes it's a scale, sometimes it's just a little bit of her hybrid body, and once he has it, she can no longer turn back into her marine being. Okay. So she's captivated and captured, right, and turned into a woman who usually has to marry this person and give children to him and so on and so forth. And that's an interesting concept because usually the mermaid stereotype is that it's the mermaid who attracts the man, the sailor, through her singing, her voice, right, and her beauty, and draws him into the water and to his death. Okay, so we have that image of the danger of mermaids, but what we found out in doing all this research is how much humans, and especially male humans, are dangerous to the mermaid as well. And then the other thing I think that came out really strongly for us is how important it is that these are creatures of the water. The ocean, of course, but also fresh water. So we have river water spirits, we have them in lakes, and it's that power of water to give life, right? We all need water. And also in the ocean especially, to give death, right? There's danger in the water. So that became like really central to our understanding of this elemental nature of the mermaid. Sorry, I'll show you a couple of images that we had introducing sections of the book. This is an image of a Babylonian ocean god, and this is, I forget exactly, but it's a European image of the mer figure. It's quite different. Well, I think Ariel and Disney have definitely had a big impact. But nowadays, other images of the mermaid are also really influential, I think. I say that because, are you familiar with this phenomenon of mermaiding? So people, both men and women, wear these fishtail-like suits and swim, right? So that's a very strenuous and kind of athletic activity. Some of them do this professionally. So there are restaurants places, resorts, where within a big tank you will have not only the fish, but this mermaid.
Yeah.
Okay, bringing an element of the supernatural, if you want, or fantasy into the scene.
Yeah.
But you'll also see, regular people at the beach taking pictures of each other, just lying around with. And so, what does that tell us? That there's some kind of attraction, right, to that hybrid body, first of all, which, interesting, gives you some sense of control to have that fishtail, that sense of freedom that you can have in the water, right, in a different element.
Yeah.
And I think all of this speaks to not only gender, but sexuality. In Brooklyn, every year there is a mermaid parade. What the parade also tells us is that freedom to represent and imagine one's body and sexuality, right, is very important to so many people who are mermaids, right, openly in that parade once a year. It's true. Ariel still has a very important role to play in our imaginations, in our visual imaginations. But the culture is also changing what the mermaid is. There are a lot of different associations with the mermaid and sexuality and trans identities. Well, thank you very much, Cathrine, for talking with me. And I will have to resume the conversation after the live action Disney film comes out next year.
Yes.